I really love buddy comedies, buddy action movies. They're really, really great stuff. From the more grounded and serious take on the genre and stuff like Hard Boiled and the original Lethal Weapon to stuff like Rush Hour and stuff that's a little more laid back and humorous. I really do think it's a genre that endures so much because there's just so much talent and weight put into putting two funny people together and sending them for the ringer, so to speak. Usually you don't see this replicated in comics very often, but one exception has always been Luke Cage and Iron Fist, the Heroes for Hire. I really love this series. It's one of the classic Marvel comics, in my opinion, from the really great period of 80s Marvel comics, where Marvel was just hitting 10 out of 10s out of the park. But everyone talks about it. When you think Luke Cage, you think Iron Fist. When you think Iron Fist, you think Luke Cage. But what I don't necessarily like is that because of this, it's completely overthrown the original outlook on Luke Cage before he got partnered with some kung fu white man. So I'd like to take a moment and talk about the original Luke Cage, because I think he's probably one of the best 70s Marvel comics. And a lot of that take has to do with the fact that, in my opinion, a lot of 70s Marvel is the worst thing you will ever read in your life, and you hope whoever makes it. But Luke Cage exists in the really good section, where even though the creative team is shifting way more than on other books like Nova, there's still an overall aesthetic appeal and story going on that's very unique. We all know the origin, experimented on in prison, made bulletproof, and all that. It's a good setup. And I think the comic does really well with this setup. Seeing Cage go from scenario to scenario, deal with 2-bit thug to 2-bit thug that only somebody in his type of scenario could ever have to deal with, is really fun. Marvel, in my opinion, has a bad villain problem, where, yes, they can hit it out of the park, but the batting average is terrible. Alright, there's a reason in the 80s they had a guy going around and killing off half of their villain characters. Most of these guys suck. But with Luke Cage, I think it works really well, because he's a starting superhero, and these are starting supervillains. It's pitting two people with two different outlooks in the same kind of scenario of being down on their luck and downtrodden, and, seeing which outlook on life wins over. Luke Cage's never say die gruff attitude, or the easy take the easy way out attitude. It's really good, and I like seeing in characters like Chemical, and the action here is really great. I love several of the fight scenes. The fight against the first Power Man. See, this annoying Avengers villain shows up and keeps bitching about how he stole his name, so Luke beats the ever-loving shit out of him in a movie theater and just declares, "This ain't your name anymore, it's mine," and just leaves him. I don't even know what happened to Power Man. I think he showed up in Thunderbolts. I don't really care either, because Luke Cage is Power Man. Luke Cage will always be Power Man. Some people have tried to say he's a legacy character. He's not. He is Power Man. I don't care. The comic went out of its way to showcase this. Luke having this big explosive fight on top of a building with these Harlem drug dealers to battling Doctor Doom's robots. If you talk about Luke Cage, you have to talk about this issue. In issue 8, I think it is, Luke gets contracted by Doctor Doom to stop these apparently rival citizens of his. They're actually just rogue Doombots. And Doom leaves without paying Luke his $200. So Luke breaks into the Fantastic Four's headquarters, asks to borrow their jet, flies over, stages a rebellion against Doctor Doom, and literally fights him near to the death for $200. The last paycheck I got was $600. Luke was scrapping the most powerful villain in Marvel Comics for $200. What the fuck? There's this great issue where Luke keeps encountering this fucking schizo that has access to a nuclear bomb. It was 70s Marvel. Everyone had access to one nuclear warhead. There was some kind of giveaway going on. And Luke gets consistently tested by the guy on whether or not there's a decent person in New York. And it's really cool seeing this modern day kind of morality play on doing the right thing in a tough time. And that's what I really like about Luke Cage, his original comic run. It's a guy in a bad situation trying his hardest to do the right thing. There's a arc where he messes up badly fighting a crazed white supremacist, and a child dies. And Luke has to carry that for the rest of his life, for the rest of his run in the comic before Danny shows up. And it's really heavy, dramatic stuff. In my opinion, the original Luke Cage comic is one of the high tier of Marvel comics in the 70s. This was, in my opinion, Marvel firing at all cylinders on an action book. This and Shang-Chi. Of course, we all know what them firing on no cylinders is like. Holy shit, oh my god, I hate Carrie Conway Fantastic Four. That's all I got for y'all today. Peace, y'all.